The South Node conjunct Chiron in a natal chart. Now, one way this may manifest is the past, which is the South Node, may be strongly connected with emotional and physical related wounds, which is Chiron. Now, if Chiron is in Aquarius, as an example, there may be certain emotional wounds connected with. One may feel, ostracized by society or not being able to integrate with society. There may be issues with friends, or it could be expressing ingenuity, as some examples. And another way that this aspect may manifest in a natal chart is that what you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node, may involve healing. Which is Chiron. Now, going to Aquarius again as an example, if Chiron is in Aquarius in a natal chart, that healing, you may express it through astrology, helping others through astrology, or some computer electronic repair. If Chiron is in Aries, you may help others with issues connected with one's identity, or being, more encouraging him or her to be more aggressive and more assertive in matters. And also, too, what you are could be really good at, which is the South Node may be connected again with helping and healing others, which is Chiron. Now, if Chiron is in Taurus, as an example, it could be helping others simply be more persistent, have more patience, perseverance, generate one's own income. And also, another way this aspect may be expressed in the natal chart is that the first half of one's life, which is the South Node, may be a time with much focus and emphasis on dealing with one's deepest wound, which is Chiron. Now, if Chiron is in Gemini, as an example, the deepest wound may be connected with one's, it could be cerebral or intellectual ability. It doesn't mean that necessarily the person doesn't have any cerebral or intellectual ability, but the person may not be satisfied with it. And it could be issues with communication, disseminating and assimilating information, as some examples. Now, the South Node conjunct Chiron in a natal chart may also manifest in, people that play an integral role in your past, which is the South Node, may figure prominently in dealing with issues connected with depleted self-esteem, which is Chiron. Now, if Chiron is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, issues with depleted self-esteem may be tied in. It could be with home and family related matters. Maybe it has something to do with the expression of unconditional love, or matters with sympathy, or being able to nurture or care, for another person. Maybe it has to do with safety and security that the person has in one's life, or issues trying to get ready for, that latter part of life, whether it could be retirement or what have you. Now, also, too, another way this aspect may be expressed in the natal chart is that diminished self-worth and the suffering one may endure, which is Chiron, may be issues you need to leave behind, which is the South Node. Now, I understand that is true, regardless of aspects in the natal chart, but it may be something that has to be more of a focused, and there may be, more time that's dedicated to this in one's life compared to the average person. Now, if you have let's say if Chiron is in Leo, as an example, diminished self-worth may be tied in. It may have to do with not being lauded and praised enough for one's efforts, or issues with receiving attention and getting notoriety and recognition for what one's achievements. Maybe there's issues with pride or the ego that is tied in with depleted self-worth in one's life. And if as far as physical related suffering, if Chiron is in Leo, there could be issues with the heart or the spine or the upper back, as some examples. Now, also, too, the same may apply for physical-related wounds, which is really what I just described. If, let's say, if Chiron is physical-related wounds. If Chiron is in Virgo, as an example, there may be physical-related wounds, associated with the spleen or the pancreas, or there may be abdominal issues. If Chiron is in Libra, as another example, there may be physical-related issues with the lower back or the endocrine system or the kidneys, as another example. Now, also, too, those that may be pivotal in one's past, which is the South Node, may figure prominently in matters that are connected with pain and anguish, which is Chiron. It could be for better or for worse. Remember, this is a conjunction aspect, and it could have good and bad qualities connected with it. Now, let's say if Chiron is in Scorpio, as an example, matters with pain and anguish, the suffering one may endure. Maybe there's issues where one had to deal with, where strong crime and corruption, or, one may have been victim of a crime, or, a very strong crime, or it could be, some kind of, manipulation, or, vengeful behavior by another, sadistic behavior by another person. And also in physical related wounds, if Chiron is in Scorpio, may be tied in with the colon, the prostate, the bladder, the reproductive system, as some examples. Now, also helpers and healers and spiritual people and even astrologers, which is Chiron, may play an integral role in what you're trying to get away from, which is the South Node. Now, if the South Node is in Sagittarius, as an example, what you may be trying to get away from could simply be just, targeting one particular belief, which could be to your detriment, and not being open-minded, to manifold beliefs. It could be, having an overly reckless or self-righteous type nature, being overly blunt to the point of being tactless, which could be to your detriment. And also, compassion, empathy, and sympathy, which is Chiron, may be qualities that are emphasized very strongly in the first half of one's life, which is the South Node. Now, if the South Node is in Pisces, as an example, that first half of one's life may be one where one emphasizes, helping those that are less fortunate than oneself, including the homeless, the impoverished, the oppressed, and the hungry. It could be rescuing others, doing things that involve a lot of sacrificing. And also, too, what may need to be rectified, which is the South Node, may be tied in with one's emotional wounds. So whatever needs to be corrected or rectified, there may be more emotional suffering connected with it. Now, if the South Node, let's say, for example, is in Capricorn, there may be an overly, authoritative or cold or callous or undemonstrative nature, that may need to be corrected. And, there may be some cases, some ruthless, attempts to attain career ambitions. And it may be more tied in with one's emotional suffering than the average person. And also, too, another way this aspect may manifest is that an ability for astrology, mentoring, teaching, or spirituality, which is, Chiron, may have been carried over from a past life, which is the South Node, if you do believe in that. Now, if the, let's say, for example, if the South Node, is in Libra, past life may have been one in which you expressed a lot of, where you were very, refined or charming, had an ability to negotiate strongly, where that was emphasized, to mediate. There may have been some, artistic ability or some ability connected, with the law, for, being an attorney, doing something connected with the law, such as being an attorney or paralegal, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.